So let's talk about that. So Corinthians officially sacked their head coach Ramon Diaz after only getting 4 points out of the first 4 games in the Brazilian League and after a disappointing start in the Copa Sul-Americana. But let's not forget that less than a month ago, so March 27 or 28, I forgot the exact date, and today is April 17, so less than a month ago, he managed Corinthians to win their first trophy in the last 6 years, defeating their arch rivals Palmeiras and winning the Paulista State Championship. So less than a month ago, he won a trophy for Corinthians, and today he's just simply sacked for the club. He's just simply sacked, he's just simply fired and out of Corinthians. And this just goes to show how many Brazilian clubs, let's not generalize here, how many Brazilian clubs struggle to prioritize long-term success over short-term success. And we've seen that before. We've seen like cases that did work. For example, last year, Tite was manager of Flamengo. He managed to win the Carioca State Championship for Flamengo, but after disappointing games in the Brazilian League and after elimination in the Copa Libertadores, Flamengo sacked him and then hired Felipe Luis, who managed to win the Copa do Brasil for Flamengo. But we also seen worse scenarios before. We saw Grêmio in 2021. They had Thiago Nunes, who managed to win the Gaúcho State Championship for Grêmio. And then what happened? A few bad performances in the Brazilian League. He was sacked. Felipão became the new coach for Grêmio. Then he was sacked because Grêmio wasn't getting the 3 points. They were just keeping in the relegation zone. They were not getting out of the relegation zone. And then they got Wagner Mancini. And then what happened in the end? Grêmio got relegated. So we could see Corinthians getting a better manager that could make this team play better. And hopefully Corinthians could win another trophy this season or, perform better in the Brazilian League. But they could also get a manager that could make it worse, and Corinthians could potentially lose more games. I'm like, it's just 4 games in the Brazilian League that Corinthians play, and they lost 2 of them, and I get it. They got all the prestations to Copa Libertadores, but Ramon Diaz has been in the club within less than a year, and he has done already 2 incredible things for the club. Let's not forget that last season was terrible for Corinthians overall. There were like so many things were going wrong. Corruption with the club, loss of sponsorship, players getting out of the club. The biggest idol just left in the club, and then he got into Corinthians, where Corinthians was within 18th place in the Brazilian League and managed to get Corinthians into a 7th place position in the Brazilian League. This is super hard to do it in the Brazilian League, and he managed to do that. And this year, after 6 years, he managed Corinthians to win a trophy against their arch rivals Palmeiras. I know it's a state championship, but it's still a big trophy. And now, they didn't even give time for him, they didn't even give time for him to let's get the 11 team and let's see, if the 11 team is not performing well, for all the 11 players, because Corinthians didn't have Rodrigo Garro, they didn't have Hugo Souza, and they didn't wait that. They didn't wait for that. They just simply sacked him. So I don't know what to expect for Corinthians, but honestly, this just goes to show how Brazil just has this problem of prioritizing short-term success over long-term success. And I get the view. I get the view from Corinthians fans. I get the view from many Brazilian fans. Myself as Brazilian as well. I get it. I get it. But it's just something that I personally don't like it. For example, if you look at Europe, if you look at England specifically, and you look at, for example, Arsenal, they have Mikel Arteta in the club. Mikel Arteta has been with Arsenal for 6 years. And yeah, he managed to only win 3 trophies, and I'm including the FA Community Shield, the 2 FA Community Shields that Arsenal was able to win. And guess what's happening right now? Arsenal are in the semi-finals of the Champions League and have a good chance of winning the Champions League, their first ever Champions League. Because what? Because they prioritize long-term success over short-term success. Yes, Arteta's first season at Arsenal wasn't great. Many Arsenal fans make fun of that, but they believe in him. They believe in him that he could, take this team into another level, which he's doing right now despite not winning trophies. And let's not forget, you want a better example? Sure, let's talk about Klopp's Liverpool. Klopp came to Liverpool in 2015, and 2015, 2016, he didn't manage to win a trophy. 2016, 2017, he didn't manage to win a trophy. 2017, 2018, he didn't manage to win a trophy. And then 2018, 2019, guess what happened? Liverpool won the Champions League. So this just goes to show how Brazil has this problem of short-term over long-term success. Well, let me know what you guys think.